Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good day. My name is Nur Ainabila binti Salihuddin and this is a video presentation for UITM's Conference 2022 with a project proposed entitled as Preserving Anonymity in E-Voting Using Authentication Techniques. Democracy is the healthiest, most participative form of government in the world. It allows residents to elect their representative through the process of voting. In general, voting is a method used by a community of people to reach a collective decision or express an opinion. Elections or voting is commonly used in many situations, whether it is in much higher stakes such as democracies to elect high-level officials or to even vote for something much less significant. With the rapid growth of the internet and technologies in general, the existence of electronic facilities such as e-application is inevitable. As for this proposed project, we have gathered some of the research backgrounds related to it, which are firstly the traditional voting process. The traditional voting process or procedure refers to the standard way of voting which require physical participation in its process. Although the physical participation in a voting process is crucial and beneficial to the authenticity of the voting ballot, it might also pose as a problem. Considering the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic striking the world without warning, it is all the more reason that the lack of online or remote voting system has become a problem as it has increased the difficulty in the traditional voting procedure. The second research background is relating to the issue of the anonymity of the voters. When it comes to voting and depending on the election's priority or policy, the anonymity of the voting or the ballot is critical, particularly for the high-level election. It is important to keep the relationship between the voter's identity and the cast vote private and anonymous. Therefore, the lack of private voting booths and the close monitoring by the staff during the voting process at University Melaka and UITM becomes the foundation for the issue of voting anonymity in this paper. Next is the need for an online e-voting. With the relation of the requirement of a physical participation, it affects on the low voter turnout during the election day. The Barisan Nasional victory in the recent Johor state election was due to several issues, the most important of which is the low voter turnout. The voter turnout was barely 55%, but BN received 43% of the ballot, which in the end led to the saying of, if people had shown up, the outcome could have been different. Take University Melaka and UITM as an example. For every semester, they would hold an election to vote for their higher level committee, which is the MPP. Due to the aftermath of COVID-19 pandemic, all educational institutions were required to put a halt in terms of the normal face-to-face and physical classes. As a result, online e-voting has emerged as the most important method to implement. There are also some techniques that are involved in the design of the proposed project. Firstly, the hashing technique. Hashing algorithms or hash functions is a process on converting input strings into output strings of a specific length. Hash functions are widely used in data integrity and security. Both are important for data transfer and authentication. Although there are diverse types of hashing algorithm, this particular project targets the shorter sizes of hashing functions. One of the reasons is that one of the hashed outputs will become their ID code and become the first authentication step. Therefore, longer hash data will be inconvenient for the user's usability of the application. Some hashing functions that are considered to be implemented in this project are CRC32, Adler32, and FNV132. The second technique is the multi-factor authentication. MFA is a layered defense that makes it more difficult for an unauthorized person to access a target. If one factor is compromised or broken, the attacker still has at least one or more barriers to breach before successfully breaking into the target. Even with various selection of multi-factor methodologies that can be used ranging from the biometrics verification, security question, and one-time passwords, this project, however, is planning to use the one-time password as its second authentication, which in choices between time-based one-time password or hashmark based one-time password algorithm. As the need of online e-voting system increases by the year, it is inevitable that there are already plenty of attempts to develop the system with several types of technologies. A research in 2017 focuses on the authentication of the voting system using smart card and biometric methods, while in 2019 focuses on the authentication and data security by implementing biometrics and SHA-1 hashing algorithm. Then a research in 2022 focuses on the data security and transparency by implementing blockchain technology in their system. In conclusion, this paper discussed some practical consideration in the design of e-voting system that targets to keep the anonymity of the voters by using the hashing algorithm to the data stored in the system, including the voter's ID, which is also used as the first authentication step. The usage of OTP is implemented as the second authentication step to ensure the vote is valid to be accepted before it is saved in the back-end system. The e-voting system is predicted to be able to make sure the data in the database is intelligible to the human eyes and to able to successfully implement the MFA authentication for the validation of the vote.